Thanks a million for coming along, and today I'm talking about using essential oils and reflexology for helping the symptoms of sinusitis and hay fever. And I'm sure any massage or any aromatherapist or reflexologist out there already knows the huge benefit that both of these therapies can bring. So if you have any questions or anything you want me to explain better, or you want me to slow down or whatever, just post in the comments below. If you're listening to the replay, also feel free to post in the comments below. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to have a quick look at what sinusitis and hay fever actually are. So very similar symptoms. We're going to look at how to use essential oils safely. So if you listened to me before, you'll know I always start off any essential oil lesson with talking about safety. I'm going to have a quick look into suggested brands of essential oil because a lot of people are asking me that. And then I'm going to get into the main part of it, which is 3 go-to essential oils for sinusitis and hay fever. So 3 oils I use a lot for really good reasons. We will look at how to use essential oils for sinusitis and hay fever. And then I want to share a little gift I have for you today. We'll also look at the sinus reflexes on the feet. So reflexology is just absolutely fascinating and it is amazingly powerful. And I'm going to go into how you would use reflexology to treat sinusitis. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about my Indian head massage course, which is going back to its normal price on Sunday. You might be aware that I reduced the price of a lot of courses for lockdown because people had time on their hands but not that much money, so I was reducing the course so they could use the time that they had available. So that's going back to its normal price on Sunday. I'll talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to share your gift with you. I bet you're wondering what the gift is. I'm not telling you. So, a little bit about me, if you don't know me. I am a tutor and therapist and have been for 20 plus years. I'm not going to tell you how many the plus is because it's getting embarrassing at this stage. So, I've been an aromatherapist, reflexologist, holistic therapist, tutor. I've been practicing tweeting and teaching, tweeting a bit as well, I think, for 20 plus years. I've taught for VTCT and ITEC. They're the main awarding bodies in Ireland and the UK, I think a lot around internationally as well. I'm now running online training courses because the demand for them is huge, and not just because of COVID. I actually started teaching online in September 2019, not this, not a year ago. I've had really, really good results for sinusitis and hay fever symptoms really quickly. So I'm going to show you techniques that are going to have a really quick effect. I'm going to share some stories with you as well. So I'm going to talk about how aromatherapy, reflexology and Indian head massage techniques from those therapies can help with sinusitis. So moving swiftly on, just having a quick check of the comments, make sure there's no one has any questions they need answered. Hiya Audrey, how are you? Glad you can hear me. So, sinusitis and hay fever. Hay fever is caused by allergies. Sinusitis is caused by infection. People tend to be prone to them. You don't very often see somebody gets a sinusitis who hasn't had it before, so it's something that you're prone to. So the sinuses, you might know this from your A&P, they're actually little teeny tiny holes in facial bones. And you get them up here, the frontal bone, which is on the forehead, the ethmoid bone, which actually forms the eye cavity, eye socket even, the maxillary, which are in the upper cheekbones. So the sinus, as I say, are tiny holes in those bones. They're lined with mucous membrane and they're filled with mucus. What happens if somebody has an allergic reaction or if somebody with sinusitis gets infection is that the mucous membrane becomes the mucous membrane, the lining of the little bones, becomes inflamed, and that causes a blockage. So the mucus should be drained off by little tiny ducts. But when the mucous membrane becomes inflamed, the ducts get sealed off. The mucus can't escape, and then you have a buildup which causes congestion and headaches, maybe watery eyes, etc. But it is so painful, and it can just go on for weeks. I met a client, just going to go off track a little bit. Years ago, I was working on clients, and somebody popped in, and they were looking for treatment kind of there and then, and I didn't have an appointment free, but I happened to have half an hour before the next client, and I looked at her, and I hadn't met her before, but Mother of God, she just looked in pain. She looked awful. So she said she had sinusitis, and she had an attack at the moment, and she had a headache, really bad headache, constantly for the last 3 weeks. So I said, look, I don't have a whole lot of time, but if you want to come in, I can, 20 minutes, and see what we can do with that. So she sat in a chair, and I just gave her a very quick massage around the cheekbones, the forehead. I used some pressure points, I used some acupoints, essential oils. Of course, I can't do a treatment without essential oils, just not able to do it. And the difference in just that 20 minutes, that was the first time I actually used this particular sequence. I've since developed and made kind of better. But I just couldn't believe the effect. Her skin tone was better, she looked brighter, that whole pained expression was gone. And she was delighted, the first relief she'd had in 3 weeks. So obviously, as I say, with every holistic therapy, I can't promise every single person getting this treatment will have exactly the same results, but this result is typical. I've done it loads of times since. And it's so easy. It's one of the things about a lot of holistic therapies, the treatment are just so easy and so powerful. So yeah, we've done all that. Okay. So if anything is not clear, you want me to go over anything, just let me know. So the sinuses, as I said, are usually around the front of the face, but you can also get them up here. It's up to the side of the face. The parietal bone also has little sinus cavities in it. So most likely, the most common form or area for sinuses is in the cheekbones. The next one would be around the ethmoid, next one is the frontal, and then most rare is the parietal. So I think it's just a law of gravity that different areas are affected. So that is enough. We now know what sinusitis and Hayfever are. You probably did already before I started. But just go into the cautions of essential oils. And I know if you watched me before, you've probably heard this 50 million times, but for anyone new, or if you've forgotten, we go into it anyway. So never take essential oils by mouth. Never use them undiluted on the skin. You always mix them with something like a vegetable oil, shampoo, shower gel, or whatever. Don't let them come into contact with the eyes. So even though I would do a sinus massage, I would probably come fairly close, maybe up around this area, along the upper cheekbone, but I will always tell the person, look, I'm going to work on your upper cheekbones, I'm going to use essential oils, so for the next while, don't rub your eye, you don't do that. But I will also make sure I have it all rubbed in by just kind of a bit anal with the safety, but better safe than sorry. And the reason why I kind of talk about this a lot, taking oils by mouth, don't use them undiluted on the skin, etc., is because there is a lot of information out there telling people that you can do that, and people who are untrained are selling essential oils and they don't know what they're dealing with. And you might take them internally, you might use them on skin undiluted, you might get away with it. But you know, there's zero reason for taking a risk like that because they can be very, very bad effects. So just really quickly, I'm sorry, I'm just glancing away looking at the, making sure there's no questions. So for when you're using essential oils, I would recommend that you use a well-known and reputable brand. So brands like Tisserand, Gerard, Atlantic, Ancient Wisdom, Ogham, Unicorn, Fleur, Aqua Oleum is another one actually. Now this is not a complete list. These are ones I have used and I've heard other people using and found them really good. I have a little question mark there over doTERRA. doTERRA are, they have a very good marketing machine, maybe. And their quality is, it's not outstanding, but they're marketed as being outstanding. They're actually sold as therapeutic grade oils, and because they're therapeutic grade oils, they are safe to use internally. No essential oil is a therapeutic grade oil. There's no such thing as a therapeutic grade oil. An essential oil is a pure essential oil, or it's not a pure essential oil. So doTERRA would advise people to take oils internally and put them directly on their skin, and that is not a good policy. So I kind of, their oils are fine, they're not outstanding, but I just don't like their policies. Now, having said that, there are a lot of people who sell doTERRA oils who are actually also qualified aromatherapists, and in that case, it's completely different because they know exactly what they're doing. So I hope that is making sense and not too much waffle. So I'm just going to have a quick check on the chat just to make sure that there is no other comments that people want answers to. Someday I'll actually master this technology, but it won't be today. Right, so my personal 3 go-to essential oils, love them for sinusitis. So first of all, eucalyptus. And if you've listened to me before, you might have guessed this. Eucalyptus ticks all the respiratory boxes. And by that, I mean it is antibacterial and antiviral, so it's dealing with infection. It's antispasmodic, so it's dealing with coughs. It's expectorant. Expectorant means that it adds fluid to the respiratory system to help it to remove waste, bacteria, whatever. It's also mucolytic, which is really important. So you might have seen cough medicines that are expectorant and mucolytic. Mucolytic will break down thick, sticky mucus, just what you need for sinusitis. So with an expectorant oil, that will work really well when you don't have thick, sticky mucus, because all the fluid in the world is not going to remove that. You need to break it down first. So ideally, for most respiratory conditions, we're looking for something that is mucolytic and expectorant. Hope that makes sense. It's also decongestant, which is very clearing. It's pain killing. And what's not down here as well, it also is a really, really good oil that boosts the immune system. So really any symptom, any respiratory symptom or condition is going to benefit from eucalyptus. And it's actually really gentle, although it's, you might think from the smell it's not, but it's really gentle. It's really safe. There are no contraindications to eucalyptus, other than use it properly, of course. So lavender, next up. Lavender is, I call lavender Leonardo da Vinci, because lavender is really good at everything. So it's not like a jack of all trades where it's kind of reasonably good at most things. It's outstanding at a lot of things. It's really good. Okay, so lavender. It is pain-killing, it's antiviral, it's antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory, it boosts the immune system, and it enhances the properties of any other oil that is added to. So all oils will enhance each other. It's always better to use at least 2 if you can, but lavender particularly enhances other oils. Chamomile. Chamomile is the mothering oil. It's a really good name because it's really good for babies and small children. That's why it's called that. Chamomile has a lot of properties. The properties I'm talking about now are just in relation to sinusitis and hay fever. It's anti-inflammatory. Now, lavender is anti-inflammatory, eucalyptus is anti-inflammatory, but chamomile is outstanding anti-inflammatory. It is, as far as I'm aware, the most powerful anti-inflammatory oil that we have. It's also anti-allergic. And to the best of my knowledge even, I could say it would be great, it is the only anti-allergic oil apart from Melissa. And Melissa, if you want to buy Melissa, you have to mortgage your house first. Okay, you don't mortgage your house, but it's very expensive. And chamomile is also a very good pain-killing oil as well. So that is why I use those three oils, and they make a really good little cocktail. So we've actually covered a fair bit in, so let's just stop first and just check how far what we have done. So we have looked at how to use essential oils safely, we've looked at suggested brands, we've looked at what exactly is sinusitis and hay fever, we've looked at 3 go-to essential oils that you could use for sinusitis and hay fever. So if you're an aromatherapist, of course, you can use them for your clients. If you're not an aromatherapist, you can use them for your family and friends at home. But you could also burn them. If you can't use them directly on the person's skin, you can always burn them in your therapy room. So let's do a really quick recap on what we've done so far. So we looked at sinusitis and hay fever, and the sinuses are contained in the frontal bones at the forehead, the ethmoid bones, which forms the eye socket. If you ever have heard of somebody with sinusitis saying, it feels like it's actually at the back of my eye. And the reason why it feels like it's at the back of their eye is because it's actually at the back of their eye. So it's actually in the cavity. So the maxillary is the upper cheekbones, and then we have the parietal, which is to the side of the face over this area. So with infection or allergies, the mucous membrane within the sinuses becomes inflamed, and it means the mucus in the cavities is then trapped, and it causes pain, congestion, and headaches. So we looked at the cautions to essential oils. So basically, don't take them by mouth, don't use them undiluted on the skin, and don't let them come into contact with the eyes, no matter what you hear. The essential oils I recommend are mainly the reputable brands, well-known brands. So beware of people who are giving you dangerous information, and stick with the well-known brands. Really. Get them mainly if you're going to buy essential oils. Holistic centres, health food stores are the best place to get them. I wouldn't generally go to a supermarket because you're not quite sure what you're getting. So the oils that I recommend, that I love for sinusitis and hay fever, is eucalyptus. General, excellent, all-rounder, ticks all the boxes for respiratory complaints. Lavender is our Leonardo da Vinci. Absolutely fantastic for pain. Sorry about this. Lavender is really good for pain, for infection, it's just fantastic in everything. And chamomile is, I love it for sinusitis because it's a spectacular anti-inflammatory oil, and it's really good for allergies as well as being a painkilling oil. So, question time. When would you not choose lavender? So, actually, I'm kind of cheating because I didn't go through it on the slide. But I'm going to, if you don't know the answer, no problem, but I will tell you in a minute. Which essential oil of the ones I've mentioned is anti-allergic? What are sinuses. Which essential oil ticks all the respiratory boxes? So does the infection, the inflammation, the spasms, the pain. So mucolytic expectorant, so it's a really good oil for respiratory infections. I'm going to give you a minute to just see if you want to see if you can remember the answers. And if you don't remember the answers, that's no problem, because we'll go over them now. But I always think that when you're trying to learn something, it's better to try and find the answer for yourself, because then when you do get the answer, it sticks in your head more. So have a go at that, and I'm just going to check and see if anyone has any questions so far. Sorry about this. Right, so let's go on and have a look at the answers. You wouldn't use lavender during pregnancy. So essential oils, as far as I'm aware, there's no known case of them ever having caused any harm during pregnancy, but you want to err on the side of caution, and lavender can help to bring a period on if it needs to come on. So I don't think it would cause any harm, but as a therapist, actually, whenever I'm treating someone who's pregnant, I'll always err on the side of caution and don't use any oils that have any possible chance of causing harm. Which essential oil is anti-allergic? That would be chamomile. What are the sinuses? They are cavities in the facial bones. They're lined with mucous membrane and filled with mucus. Which oil ticks all the respiratory boxes? And that would be eucalyptus. So as I say, if anything is not clear, let me know. If you're watching the replay, you have a question, just post in the comments. So the best ways to use essential oils for sinusitis and hay fever. A facial massage is excellent. That was the one I used for that client who came in who was in terrible pain. And you can combine acupoints, tapping, thumb circles, effleurage. A head massage is actually brings great relief for sinusitis too. Inhalers. I posted a picture in the group of inhalers I bought recently, and these look really good. They're made from aluminium, and you can refill them. As a glass ones, you can't refill them. You have a little glass container that you put the wick into. Put the oils in the wick, put the wick in the glass container. Glass container goes inside the aluminium inhaler. Really, really good. So for something like sinusitis, you would use 30 drops of essential oils on the wick. And it might sound like an awful lot, but it's not really, because you're only going to smell the tip of the inhaler. So it's not overpowering at all. So if you're going to use the 3 oils I recommended, you would use 10 eucalyptus, 10 lavender, and 10 chamomile. Another way to use essential oils that's really effective as well is on the feet. So I'll be talking about that now in the next slide, I think, shortly. So the ball of the foot represents the chest area. The tips of the toes represent the sinus, or they are the reflex areas for those parts. And applying essential oil to the feet can be really effective. I've known a lot of people actually who would say that for a chesty condition of any kind, any respiratory condition, they just apply oils to the feet, and that is more powerful than applying it to the chest. So personally, I kind of like to use both. Why not? Cover, the most chances of success. But yeah, it's really effective putting oils on the feet. It's kind of bizarre. So, okay, so, it's okay, come on then, Luke. So, what is the present I'm going to give you? I did mention a present earlier on, and the present is a sinus massage video. So I was talking about the sinus massage I did for that client, and really and truly, like you could maybe take 5 to 10 minutes doing this massage, and it is so powerful and so simple. So at the end of this, I'm going to share a link with you for actually where you can get your hands on the video. So even if you're not a massage therapist, if you're a reflexologist, you might work on the feet and then just spend a few minutes on the face. And if you can't use essential oils on the actual skin, you can have them burning. You could let them sniff them. There's so many ways of getting oils into the system. So I hope all this is okay for you and making sense. So, sinus reflexes on the feet. Reflexology is so powerful. And when I came across it first, I was thinking, sure, why would you work on the feet for something that was like someone else? Just work on the kind of someone else. But my friend offered me a treatment. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I went along, kind of, all right, yeah. And the whole mother of God, it was just amazing. So just really briefly, how reflexology works for anyone who doesn't know. There are points on the feet that have corresponding reflexes. Body organs and systems have corresponding reflexes on the feet. If you look at the feet, they kind of look like they have the shape of the body. So you have, this is the spine, sided foot would be the spine. You have the cervical coming out to the thoracic, curving back in at the waist, flaring out again at the hips. The toes are the head, front of the toes at the base. Where it flares out at the ball of the hips is the ball of the feet, mother of God. Where it flares out at the ball of the foot is the chest area. And then we have other areas down below. I won't go into too much then. So the toes are the head, the front of the toes are the face. The tips of the toes, so just the very tip of each toe, are the sinuses. People who have sinusitis will almost always have hard skin on the tips of the toes, maybe not the tips of all the toes, but the tips of at least some of their toes, no matter what they do. They'll be using moisturizer, balm, scrubs, looking after themselves, the whole lot. And this hard skin will not shift. And that would be, I'd say, 99%. Actually, of all the people who have ever had sinusitis that I have treated, including students, I've only ever seen one person with sinusitis who did not have hard skin on the toes, on the tips of her toes, and I will go and explain that story in a few minutes. So when you're working on sinuses for someone who has sinusitis, are you working on the ball of the foot? And by sinuses, sorry, I mean the reflexes, sinus reflexes on the tip of the toes. You'll often feel little crystals that feel like little bits of grains of sand just under the skin. under the skin. And what you do is you can rotate with your finger or palms on those points to kind of, sorry, figure out this camera. So I'm just going to show you on my hand. So you can rotate, I don't know if you can see that okay. Put your hand, make my hand the right way, it might be better. So all I'm doing is rotating on the area to break down crystals. Now obviously it's up here, but just to show you for the video. Kind of like if you've done massage, you work away on something to kind of break down the waste products and crystals, etc. And it can have an amazing effect. So you won't necessarily have immediate relief straight away, but you sometimes can. But you will, I would be surprised for anyone with sinusitis who doesn't get some relief from a treatment like this. I mean, some immediate relief from a treatment like this. I would highly recommend reflexology as well as aromatherapy for sinusitis. So the client is actually one of my students. she had sinusitis and had had it for years and didn't have any hard skin on the tips of her toes. So I was scratching my head because I'd never come across this before. But when I worked on her little toe, so I know I'll show my fingers just to think about music. I worked on her little toe and I could feel a lot of crystals on both little toes. So worked away at that, and she actually, when she was finished the treatment, she says, "Oh my God," she says, "I can't believe that, because I've had kind of pain for the last few days and it's completely gone." So when we were talking about where the crystals were, they weren't where they should have been. I said, well, they were on your little toes. That's where I found all the crystals. That's where I kind of broke them up. And she goes, "Oh yeah," she said, "that's because I only ever get sinusitis at the side of my head. And the little toes, the front of the little toes, represent the side of the face stroke head." So it's just such a bizarre treatment, bizarre and amazing, and I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to have a quick check of the comments because I don't want people being confused. Hi, Liz. Oh, good question, Liz. Liz wants to know, is there an alternative blend for pregnancy? So for pregnancy, yeah, you can't use lavender, you can't use chamomile, but you can use eucalyptus. And I would say if you had something like eucalyptus and benzoin, because benzoin is a really good painkiller. Sorry, I was talking on my phone there. Benzoin is a really good painkiller and it's very good for the respiratory system. So if you want to try that, Liz, if you don't know, if you know somebody who you need it for, but try it and let me know how it works. If you want, that should be pretty good. And Brenda wants to know, where do I get my inhalers? Yeah, Brenda, the inhalers are absolutely gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link for them down below the video. I got them on Amazon, and they were quite reasonable. You use something like 25 wicks, so you can kind of reuse them. I'll post that down below for you, Brenda. Hiya, Sandra. Sandra wants to know, when you mentioned vegetable oil, olive oil sounds stupid, but is that the same oil you would buy in the supermarket? That is not stupid at all, Sandra, and actually I should have made that clear. Yes, it is the same as the one you buy in your supermarket. What you want to buy with olive oil is extra virgin. Extra virgin olive oil has more properties, more pain-killing, more inflammation properties, anti-inflammatory properties, mother of God, than the extra virgin or the virgin. Sorry, extra virgin has more properties than anything else. Virgin has some properties, and the so-called pure has 0 properties. It's actually produced on a very high heat. So extra virgin olive oil is extra virgin olive oil, no matter whether you buy a Tisserand brand or you buy a Super Value brand, all the same. So I hope everything is clear for you. So I'm just going to go quickly over what we've done. So we looked at how to use essential oils safely, suggested brands of essential oils, what are sinusitis and hay fever. We looked at 3 go-to oils that are friggin' amazing for sinusitis and hay fever. We looked at how to use essential oils for sinusitis and hay fever and you're present. And we looked at the sinus reflexes on the feet. So even if you're not a reflexologist, there's nothing to stop you from doing a sinus massage, use essential oils if you're qualified, and then coming down just doing a little bit of a foot massage, how to do a foot massage, and just work on those areas I was talking about. So tips of the toes, ball of the foot. Right. So really quickly, contraindications, cautions to essential oils. Don't take them by mouth. Don't use them undiluted on the skin, and don't let them come into contact with the eyes, no matter what anyone tells you. So which brand? Basically well-known, reputable brands, and don't listen again to people who tell you that you can use them, that their particular oil is a therapeutic grade and you can therefore take it internally. No, not unless you want to get sick. Funny, it's sick, you can take it internally. So I hope it's that again, don't bore you. So the oils I was recommending: eucalyptus, lavender, chamomile. And eucalyptus ticks all the respiratory boxes: pain-killing, anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, expectorant, mucolytic, pain-killing, absolutely brilliant, brilliant. No contraindications to eucalyptus. Lavender, really, really good oil, great at everything. Pain-killing, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, boosts immune system, and enhances other oils. So it does other things too, but I'm just talking about in relation to sinusitis and hay fever. So don't use essential oils during pregnancy. Chamomile, it is anti-inflammatory extraordinaire. Says if you had the accent. It's also a really good anti-allergic, and it's a really good painkiller. That's why I would use it for sinusitis, etc. It has a lot of other properties too, but we won't reach them now. You could be here all day. So best ways I have found to use essential oils: in a facial massage, which I will be giving you a copy of. The inhalers, which I love the inhalers, so powerful as well. And applying to the feet is, I mean, you wouldn't think it would work. Really, I mean, it makes no sense, no logical sense. Nevertheless, it works. So we just looked at the reflexes for sinusitis and hay fever. So the sinus reflexes are on the tips of the toes. The lung area is the ball of the feet. So it's always a good idea to work there as well because it's a respiratory condition. And sometimes people, when they have sinusitis pain to the side of their face, you would work mainly on the little toe. Doesn't mean you can't work the other areas as well. This will be where you would focus on and where you're more likely to find the crystals, grainy bits underneath the skin. So let's do a couple of more questions. And again, I'm just going to check that no one has any other questions. Sometimes the questions don't come up until they're slow coming up on the phone. So if I haven't answered your question because I haven't seen it, but I will get to it. So could you say 2 ways that you can use essential oils to ease sinusitis? And where on the feet would you find the sinus reflexes? What would you normally see on the feet when someone has sinusitis? So 99.999% of sinus cases, in my experience. And the top of the little toe is the reflex for what, or what area is the reflex for? If you want to take a minute and just see if you know the answer, and if you would like to put the answer in the chat, you're very welcome. You don't have to, obviously, and I've lost the chat. And if you're hopping on late and you've missed some of this, don't worry, because the replay will stay in the group as it always does. Okay. 2 ways to use essential oils to ease sinusitis: massage, inhaler, and also you can put them on the feet. Where on the feet are the sinus reflexes? They are on the tips of the toes. What do you usually see on the feet when someone has sinusitis? You would see hard skin on the tips of the toes, despite their best efforts and moisturizer, etc. That the hard skin just will not go. And it can be different degrees. It could be a little bit or it could be a lot. And actually, that will actually show you how severe the sinusitis is. There's a really good book called Stories Your Feet Can Tell by Eunice Ingham, and I really recommend it. But the stories, their feet really do tell stories. So the top of the little toe is the reflex for the side of the face. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go into the Indian head massage course, tell you a little bit about that, because it was on special offer since lockdown, but it's going up in price on Sunday. So I want to let you know a bit about it, just so you wouldn't miss the offer if it's something that you're interested in. So the course is online and actually has been, I used to have an online version as well as the in-person. Now it's all online. The demand for an online version was really high because people wanted convenience with childcare, travelling, shift work, etc. That was even before COVID. So that is the reason why it's online. So what we cover in the Indian head massage course, we do a seated massage, which is perfect for corporate work. And it's also perfect for showcasing the treatments like open days, etc. We do a lying massage, which is perfect for your therapy room. So most courses you actually learn a seated massage, and then your first client to come for an Indian head massage wants to have it lying down, and you don't know how to do it. That was my experience. I didn't have a clue. I didn't learn this on the course. Oh God, totally caught in the hop. I don't think she got a nice treatment, but yeah. And for all of your massage techniques, you get individual feedback. So for years, I wouldn't do online courses because I couldn't see how you could get the proper attention that you need. I'd always say you can't teach holistic therapies unless you're standing over somebody to tell them, you know, where to go wrong, how to improve, etc. But what I do on the course, on most of my courses, is I get students to send me videos of themselves doing the treatment, and that's not technical, it's not difficult, there's a step-by-step guide to that as well. And then I can send your video back to you with feedback saying, actually, you know, drop your hand a little bit there, or that's a bit too much oil, or whatever, and then you can do it again, send it back in again, and read it. Because the aim of the course is to have you using that treatment, giving that treatment, and feeling really competent and confident when you do it. And I also have a module about using essential oils in Indian head massage. And people are getting insurance for this. So far, none of my students have any problem getting insurance for it. And we cover things like essential oils for stress, migraine, sinusitis, neck and shoulder tension, etc. Any condition that people will often come, any condition that Indian head massage helps, I will have a section on essential oil because it just really enhances the treatment no end. And we will also cover the sinus massage. You will get the sinus massage free if you want it. We do an introduction to Marma points and Ayurveda. It's really interesting, and actually we use a lot of the Marma points in the sinus massage. And I also covered, at the moment it's an ebook, 7 ways to boost your business with Indian head massage, because it is such a great way to showcase your treatment, and it is so versatile that there are a lot of ways you can boost your business with just Indian head massage, and you can boost your entire business, not just your Indian head massage treatments. So that is an ebook, and I am going to make it into a video as well, so it might be easier for people to use. So how does Indian head massage work? When you sign up, you get immediate access to the course. You can work through the modules, sorry, not aromatherapy. You can work through the modules, answer the questions, do the assignments. You practice the massage techniques and send me in the videos. You get voiceover feedback for your videos. You can then complete case studies as you work. Case studies are so important. You get feedback and tips on your case studies. You don't necessarily need to complete 3 practical assessments. You can do 2. One, once you get your treatment and it's to professional standard, that's fine. Some people might need 2, but that's no problem. You work through the course at your own pace, and you get lifetime access to the course and to any updates. So you can go back and refresh as many times as you want. Actually, one of the big benefits of any online training is that it's there for you whenever you want it. So the video, it is a video of me giving a sinus massage and showing the points that you work on. And you can use, if you're an aromatherapist, you can use the essential oils that I've already covered, and absolutely fantastic. But obviously mix the essential oils if you're going to use them in a carrier oil. So I hope that is all clear. Yes, Audrey, another very good way of actually using the essential oils for sinusitis is putting them into warm water and inhaling. And you can do that by using the old-fashioned method where you have a basin, and maybe don't put a lot, maybe 3 drops might be enough because it can be very overpowering. And then you can cover your head with a towel, take a few deep breaths in, come back out again, go back in again, and do it for a couple of minutes. Another way that might be easier to do it is using an inhaler cup. It's a special plastic cup. It has 2 handles and it has a plastic mask on it, and it looks like a mask you'd have in surgery if you melt your bleed. maybe 1 or 2 drops of essential oil, and that might be enough because it's more intense. And you can also just get an ordinary cup with a bit of boiling water or boiled water at the bottom and put in 1 or 2 drops of essential oil and just hold it and breathe. And when you have sinus problems, when you're using that method, the best way is to breathe in through your nose. If you have a chesty condition, you can breathe in through your mouth. So just that you get the oils more directly to the area that you want. Not to say you couldn't do both, but do the nose inhalation for sinusitis. Or even a head cold, it can be sinusitis, like head cold and congestion and all these are great for. Okay, so that is it. I hope that you enjoyed it and I hope that you found it useful. So if you think of a question later on, pop it in the comments. If you're watching the replay, put any questions in the comments. So thanks a million for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.